The other type of blade I'm using is the number 11 blade from Hobby Knife. Here is the number 11 knife blade holder. I'm going to disassemble this one because it's a more complicated item. What we have here is the blade, a screw to hold it into position, L to keep it from coming up, and there's a little piece of brass in here to keep it from falling down. So if we loosen up the screws, there's the little piece that holds the blade up. We can remove the blade. I should mention that this is used on the back side of the cutting because the sharp edge is facing down and you want it to be coming up when it's cutting. And then the final part. Is the L. Yes, I'm going to try to cut the rubber from a nitrile glove, 5mm nitrile glove, using the number 11 blade holder. It cuts on the back side. I was able to lift it off the lid with wall-safe tape. I got a 5mm thick rubber washer and a 5mm thick disc. Yes, here's some of the methods I use to construct the number 11 blade holder. I wanted to lay out where to drill, so I took a blade and I cut off a 1/4 inch because I only want to have a 1/4 inch exposed. Then I ground down the sharp part of the blade so I can now handle it without cutting myself. And then I clamped it, but I used a better clamp than what I'll be using here. Now that is a 2.5mm wide slot. So I got some 2.5mm brass tubing, and actually a tubing assortment, so I had 2.5 and 2 millimeter wide tubing. This allows me to use it as a guide to put it exactly where I want it and drill a little reference mark on the aluminum bar stock. Now, when it came time to drill holes in the aluminum cover, this one was based on the blade. This one is, and this one is just so it could clear the blade and hold this top part. But to find out where to attach this, having mounted the blade to the bar, I then attached the aluminum to the bar, and from the reverse side I used 2 millimeter tubing and a drill bit. Oops. That way, to mark the drill locations on the aluminum L one at a time, then drill it and screw it down so that I could mount the L. Then I inserted a brass plate and used the tubing and drill to mark where to drill the brass, then screwed it down, and then marked where I needed to cut it off so that it formed that triangle shape to hold in the blade. Yeah, to make the number 11 blade holder, I mounted a milling table on the lathe. I then drilled a hole for tapping the lathe one at a time, and after drilling it, I inserted this into the chuck in place of the drill bit. Now this is a threaded insert, but it was too small to accept a tap, and I drilled it with a big enough bit so that the tap could go inside. These screws are M2.5, so it's a very small tap, and so I made a little tapping wrench from a stainless steel threaded insert, drilled through. You could add longer screws if you wanted more leverage. You usually tighten just one of the screws with a wrench and leave the other one just touching. That way all the force is against the curved part, and if you try to tighten both, then you're only holding it at with a couple screws. Another alternative is I bought some gears from a gear set and replaced the set screw with a screw that I could get to easier, and you can put that over the tap and make a wrench to turning it. Now you would insert this into the chuck, and I had a small spring, and you put that on it, and then when you insert this into the lathe and then bring the part with the hole that you want to tap, this puts pressure on it, so all you have to do is turn it, and you don't have to turn and push in at the same time. And by having this adjust, you could adjust the amount of force you needed. Now this spring may not be easy to find. This one came from taking apart a non-working ballpoint pen, and the pen mechanism usually has a spring that works okay, but it's longer than it needs to be, but it still functions. Now, to tap the hole, you should use a tapping lubricant. And I put a little bit in a vial of tapping fluid, and then I applied it to the hole with a dropper that I made from a pipette tip that they use in biology and chemistry, and a silicone rubber cap that they usually have for like automotive work. And then you can just apply it to the hole and to the tap itself to lubricate it.